Hey, John Martinez here. I spend most of my time training sales teams, and when I talk to the investors that we train, one of the common questions I get is, how do I hire the right salesperson? Or if I already have salespeople, how do I make sure they're the right fit, they're good for the organization? And there really are a series of questions you can ask them, or use assessments to uncover. I usually recommend assessments, but I'm going to give you questions that you can ask during the interview process, or just ask your existing sales force to figure out exactly how they're built, who they are, and if they're built for selling, and if they're going to do a good job for you. And one of the first questions I recommend asking about is about personal responsibility. And this is super important because personal responsibility has a lot to do with current results and the potential for someone to get better at what they do, their potential for improvement. And I'll explain it to you this way. I'll explain it using kind of health and exercise and that type of stuff, because most of us can relate to that. Now, I want you to imagine a person who's unhappy with their health. This could be their physical health. This could just be, their cardiovascular, how they look, how they feel, whatever, right? How their clothes fit, their health. They're unhappy with it. They want better health. They want to look better, feel better, all those kinds of things. Now, there's two types of people who feel this way. One type of person doesn't take any personal responsibility at all, which means they blame everything other than themselves. They might say stuff like, it's my genetics. Everyone in my family is big. Everyone has health issues. Nothing I can do about it. They might blame their financial situation. They might say, I don't have the money to eat well. It's super expensive. I don't have the money to go to a fancy gym or to buy the equipment. They might blame their time, right? Hey, listen, I've got a lot of kids. I've got 2 jobs, I've got a family, I've got these obligations with the church and scouts and all this other stuff, so I don't have the time to get in shape. Well, that type of person will never get in shape. Why? Because they have zero control. They have taken all their responsibility and they put it on their time, their financial situation, their genetics, and all that kind of stuff. So they're never going to get better results. They're never going to get any better because in their head, it's out of their control, right? It's the same as saying like, hey, John, can you control the length of days? No, I can't, right? The sun goes up and the sun goes down. I have zero control over that, so I'm not going to try to control how long a day is. That would be insane. That's how these people think, is I have no control. Now, there's the other half of people who say, I'm not in the shape I want to be in, but they take personal responsibility. And these people take personal responsibility because they say things like, hey, listen, I don't have the time, but I'm gonna make it. I can shift my schedule around. I can reprioritize. I don't have the money to eat well, but I can rearrange priorities, take the money from somewhere else, and put it into living a healthy lifestyle and doing what I need to. I don't have the right equipment, but I have a neighborhood. I can jog the hills. I can go to a playground and do pull-ups. I can make it work. Maybe I haven't been doing what I should, but that's my fault and I'm gonna do something about it. That's personal responsibility. So when you think about those two examples, which one is gonna actually get themselves in shape? It's the one who takes responsibility for their situation. Now, this is the exact same in sales. If you have a salesperson who takes no personal responsibility, who says, hey, it's not my fault, I didn't win the deal because there's some knucklehead investor who's brand new, who doesn't know how much to offer for houses, that's offering way too much, and I can't compete against that. Or, hey, it's a market. The market's super competitive. We just got to live with what we can get. Or, hey, these leads are terrible. What do you expect me to do with leads like this? I can't sell these. These aren't motivated sellers. Well, that person is never going to get better sales results, and the reason is because they're blaming everything else. Now, if you have a salesperson who says, you know what, I could have asked more questions, and you say, why didn't you get that deal? I think we could have got that one. And they say something like, well, you know what, my fault, I goofed up. I should have looked at the numbers deeper and made sure the ARV was really dialed in before I started spitballing. Or, hey, you know what, I made an offer too soon. I didn't realize there's another decision maker in the process. I totally just offered too quickly. I didn't get all the information. That's my fault. I've learned my lesson. Well, that's the salesperson that's going to learn from their mistakes, take personal responsibility, and say, I could have had that one. I didn't get it because of X, Y, Z. I've now learned from it, and I'm going to change my actions in the future. That's the salesperson you want. So let me give you a quick question. You can start asking today when you're interviewing salespeople, or even if you just want to check out your current sales team and see if they're taking responsibility or not, I want you to ask them this exact question. Hey, tell me about a deal that maybe you could have got. A deal that you really had a chance of getting, but for some reason you didn't get it. Things went south, things went a little crazy, you didn't get it. What happened? And if they give you some type of excuse, if they start to blame others, well, this person did this, the market is like this, this happened, I had too much on my plate, I had to go do this other thing, it's the lead's fault, it's their fault, it's his fault, it's the market's fault. They're not taking any personal responsibility, and chances are they're not going to get any better than they are today. And when they lose deals, instead of reflecting and figuring out if there was anything they could have done differently, they're just going to write it off. But if you ask that question and your sales rep or the candidate for the sales position says something like, well, this is what happened, that was my fault, I know better now and this is what I do today so that never happens again, and now I win those deals that I've lost in the past because of my bonehead mistake, that's a keeper. That's the person you want to hire, or that's the person you want to make sure you keep at all costs, because they take personal responsibility, and not only will they be good today, but they'll get better for you tomorrow.